This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. What are we talking about today? No. That's what we're talking about. No. The power of no and how it relates to boundaries and how that can fuel your transformation to the life you want to lead. We're digging in. She's a transformational coach with so much insight. I love that she's authentic. She's real. She makes this stuff easy to understand, doesn't get too woo. Nothing wrong with that, but then some people aren't, into the woo stuff. She's Donna Day. She's back with us. How you doing today?
Good. I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah, you are our professional of the year for a reason. You present things that you're the mirror. That's what it is. You put the mirror up because how many times have we been asked to do things that we really don't want to do them? It's inside of us. It's saying, and then you're like, yeah, all right, what time you want me to meet you there? And you don't say no. And it all comes down to why don't we start with boundaries first? How do you define what boundaries are?
A lot of people feel like boundaries are about shutting like other people out or down. But in fact, for me and what I've learned about them, it's about inviting only what nourishes you into your life instead of just allowing everything and anything so your energy's completely drained. That's the way I look at it.
I got you on that. And many of us don't know how to say no. We feel guilty in that. And the boundaries thing. So, quick example where I had the true realization of I need to set them. I need to set boundaries. So it was 2 years ago. Actually, no, I take it back. It was a year and a half, not even. I'm here at 5 o'clock. I get something to eat. Had a meeting later at like 7 something. And I drove to a little airport around the corner. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get some food. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to, whatever. And I start eating and the breeze is coming through. Maybe I'll see a plane take off. Again, small airport. Phone rings. Knew who it was. Someone I'm very close to. Love them. It's all good. There's always something going on, like a drama or something. And inside I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't pick it up. You're spending you time. I felt guilty. I was like, this is the last time. And I picked it up and walked them through whatever they were going through, heard them out and all of that. But I felt like I just compromised myself. I took away from myself. But that was that moment of I gotta stop doing this. I'm here to help and all of that. But I have to, when it's now me, it's me, unless it's an emergency. And then if it was, I get a text, I'd know. But that was my wake up to how important boundaries are. It takes a lot out of you if you don't put them up, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always had trouble setting boundaries. I'd say probably about I don't know, a year and a half is when I really started trying to establish learning how to set up healthy boundaries. And it hasn't been easy. It gets easier with each little step, but I mean, I always tended to live for others. So I would put their needs before mine, no matter how exhausted I was. Like if a friend needed me, I would
Yes.
just run and, help them. And then by the time I was done, I'd be like, oh my God, like I can barely get up for the next day. So it's hard, especially when you really care about people, or like when something's not working for you, and you want to, talk about it with someone that's close to you. Sometimes they could misinterpret it. And then you feel guilty about even mentioning it, even though at the same time, you're just trying to, do what's true to yourself.
Yes. Yes. So let's go to the no.
Okay.
Go to the no. We have such challenges saying no. And then when we do, we add the sorry, we add an excuse. But isn't no a complete sentence or can be?
Yeah, Yeah, no, definitely is. And but it's still one of those challenging things, Let's just get honest. Why is saying no so hard? Sometimes we're afraid of hurting others, which I just mentioned. Sometimes if it's a fear of rejection, or
Mm,
sometimes it's like we worry we'll miss an opportunity. So it kind of like you get clammed up. But there is a magical flip here.
go. I'm
All
listening.
right. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with you, you're really saying a much bigger yes to what matters most to you,
Mm.
which will then bring on, your purpose. You'll discover your purpose more easily. You'll experience joy, easily and more carefree, and also understand the impact of what, why you're here and what you're here to do. So yeah, I mean, another way you can think about it, if you want to break it down a little simpler, is think about your calendar's overflowing, right? And you have obligations that drain you. Where's the time and energy for your inspired actions? You
True.
know, for deep rest, like something I just mentioned before, or for even something spontaneous, you start to feel like weighed down. So your yes ends up losing its value when it's given to everything and everyone else around you.
Completely. And thank you for flipping around because that was empowering, thinking of how powerful the yes to yourself is just by saying the one word no, put a period at the end of that
Yeah.
and leave it be. Um, and the FOMO, the fear of missing out, I see that in many different ways. So somebody asks you to do something. Inside, your intuition is saying, no, 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 no. You got things going on. Yes, I want to help, but I have already committed to even yourself to do something.
Mhm.
The fear of missing out is it's got multiple connections. So maybe fear of missing out of doing something. That's an obvious one. But fear of missing out on an opportunity for them to do something for you. So if I do something for them, that they're going to be there when I need them. Also, the fear of missing out on them perceiving you to have value. You want
Yep.
them to look at you as like, yeah, well, they're important. They're in my, they're part of my crew, my team, they're an asset, whatever it might be. We always want to be that person, so we don't say no, but we compromise ourselves. Why are we doing this? What are some of the reasons that we don't put these boundaries up?
Well, we can, I say, let's be real about this because most of us, as you said, are especially those drawn to being compassionate and in service of others. We were all trained from childhood to be agreeable and to please people or to equate yes with goodness and love. So, what's the result in that? Sometimes it's overwhelm, burnout, and a deep disconnection from our own true desires because we're kind of conditioned to just feed other, people for that feeling of I'm giving love, so I'll receive love. Love is such a high frequency and it has so much power that sometimes you'll kind of put yourself on the side just to kind of receive it. And a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it. It's just something that everyone kind of learns as a kid, you know?
Yeah. But we well, let's go back to the why we're not putting up the boundaries. Um, any psychologist will tell you we all have this in us, and that's the feeling of I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. So I have to show that I am good enough, whether I know I'm doing it or not, by saying yes to something you knew you wanted to say no to. Most of this is going back to your childhood in your subconscious, I believe. What do you think?
Oh yeah, totally. I definitely think, but like without boundaries, anybody or anything can just trample on in. And that's when people start getting depleted. So, and it's kind of like a give take, you need to find that equal balance between, what you can do without completely draining yourself. Like you want to still be able to fill your cups,
Yep.
not just pour into others. And that's a real fine line when it comes to boundaries, especially towards people and areas of life that you really care about.
Yeah, well, where this came clear was when I started doing more things solo, I realized how much more fun they or can be of you giving yourself you.
Yeah,
So you go to dinner with somebody, it's all good, yeah. But what's going on there? You're giving 50% of that experience to the other person. So
yeah,
you may not taste the food the same way because you're not into it as you would have been, having that drink the way you might have been. Um, that was my eye opener. It's like what
yeah.
I'm giving even any interaction you're giving to somebody else, and sometimes you need to give to yourself. But there's guilt there. We feel guilty.
Yeah, you kind of like feel like then, you're leaving this person kind of behind or in the dust, especially when it comes to like your household. You know, whether it's kids or a spouse or, something like that, or even roommates, like you kind of feel a little bit more obligation in certain areas there,
Yep.
but I mean, I always like breakfast. I mean, I can't really eat breakfast foods like I used to because of my dietary restrictions now. However, I mean, I used to just go to a diner and they never had a sampling of like pancake, waffle, egg, this and that. You could get the pancakes with the eggs or the waffle with the eggs or this or that, So I would just order one of each and spread out and it would just be me,
Oh,
no one
wow.
else. And everyone was kind of like, "You're gonna eat all that?" No, I didn't finish it all, but I was able to just take some time to myself and really just enjoy food that I loved, and listen to the music in the diner and kind of get the experience. And it was very, refreshing.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I kind of felt reset, like, hey, okay, now I can go on to the next thing. And that took all of what, maybe 20 minutes?
Exactly. Even when I was away, which I shared last time we got together, just a little me inexpensive trip, a $12 lunch with everything included
Yeah.
on this island. I'm not kidding. I felt like a king. I'm just sitting there. It's like, yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also just love going to the beach and getting my feet in the sand and just listening to the ocean waves just for some me time. It could be during when it's sunny out or under the moon. But
Absolutely.
it's just, it's time to set aside. And I lost that for a while and I'm finally getting it back. And I'm starting to realize how important it is to take those moments for yourself and not just kind of allow everyone to like come in and, take your energy, whether they're meaning to or not. Most people, it's not even on purpose. You know what I mean? But it does happen.
How do you how do you do that setting the boundaries? Now, you just said you block time. Is that what's going on?
What, say that again?
Blocking time
A
for
blocking time.
yourself?
Yeah, that's how I do it. Like I just kind of try to take, I know each day, like when I'm working, when I have to do this and that, and I try to just block out a little time, whether it's 5 minutes or if it's 15 minutes, just take a little me time so I can like, kind of re-energize and kind of just connect with myself. And it just makes all the difference. And it doesn't have to be the same time every day because if I tried that, it probably wouldn't be successful.
Yep.
you know, so
Well, okay, so you get a text, you get a call, somebody connects with you, they're asking you to do something. Initially, your mind says, no, but you haven't convinced yourself yet. Is there anything you can do to really make sure this is not right for you at this time to say yes to something? Just going inside for a moment, thinking, I go with my intuition. Like, what am I feeling? What do you got? What do you got? No, 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 no. No, I can't. Sorry.
yeah.
And that's it.
I mean, for me, I've learned to be like sit with it even if I only have a couple seconds because it depends on the situation, I sit with it and I'm like, does this feel fulfilling to me? Am I excited about this? Do I have like those like the good like, butterflies or I feel at peace or calm? If I say yes to that, then it's something I move towards. But if I start to get the feeling of where my stomach's in knots and it feels like, I'm gonna be too exhausted or it's gonna drain me or like the more negative side of things, then I've gotten to the point where I just listen to myself and I just say, I'm sorry, I'm too busy at this time, or, whatever the case is, I decide to kind of like let that go because it makes a huge difference. It's not easy. And like I said, I've probably been doing this for probably the last like 3 months, like sticking to it because it's not easy. And some people do take offense, but in the end, I've realized that everything for myself kind of moves a little bit easier and life around me is easier, So some people may call that selfish, but
Yeah. Guilt. That's
yeah,
another one, the guilt thing.
exactly. But in reality, you have to care about yourself just as much as others, if not more. Otherwise, you're not going to be around to be able to help others and, at the times that, do work for you.
You know, I exercised boundaries 2 hours ago and didn't even realize it because now it's sunk in. But I
Yeah.
was on the phone with somebody, a friend I'm connected to, and we have this business idea that we're kind of fleshing out. And he was going to bring another mutual friend in. And he's like, yeah, you know what? How about Friday late afternoon, evening? We'll get together like 2 hours and we'll talk about it and everything. And I said, no, I can't do it then. What do you mean you can't do it? Let's get together. Let's do it now. I'm like, and I said, first of all, I made a commitment. Second of all, I made the commitment because when Friday at 5 o'clock kicks in, I shut down. I'm like, I'm not working anymore.
More, yep.
That doesn't mean I might not do something on Saturday. I might have a meeting on Saturday with somebody else, work related. But I say that Friday, that's it. I'm not, it's fun time, it's me time, whatever it might be. And I stuck to it. And he was fine. He's like, all right, well, what about Monday? Monday would be fine. That would be great. Late afternoon, whatever it might
Yeah.
be. I just realized it, not even knowing that I did it. It was just like autopilot. I was like, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry, man. Done. And it was
Yeah. You're saving that time and space for yourself when you need it most. And that's hard. It's very hard. This is not an easy thing to do, and like you said with the guilt, it's kind of that sticky emotional residue that shows up whenever we want to claim space for ourselves, So it's like, but the deeper truth is guilt is not guidance. It's simply just a signal that you're stretching outside your old patterns. And whenever you step outside your old patterns, you get uncomfortable and everything kind of is like scary. So it's just
again,
flexing that.
you said something. I want to us to commit that to memory. What is it?
I do.
Guilt.
You want me to repeat? Which
The,
part? The sticky
the,
emotional part or the one after that?
um, the part about guilt is not. There was something there you
Oh,
said.
yeah. Guilt is not guidance. That's what it's such a hard concept because, everyone, like I said, love is such a strong emotion and frequency that guilt is kind of attached to it. So you got to realize that, guilt is not the guidance, it's just a signal. So that you're going to be stretching outside your old patterns, and that's scary when when you're used to certain things. That's your comfort zone. So as soon as you try to step outside of that, it's scary. That's why I always tell my clients, just take baby steps. Take one little step and then keep adding to it. Don't try to make like this huge, step or, like completion of something other, because you'll probably end up coming back to your comfort zone and not sticking with it. If you just take little step by little step, then it usually ends up being more successful and becoming part of your everyday reality. But it's
Hmm.
it's difficult.
Guilt is not guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe in a way, counterproductive way, it is. It's guiding you away from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
Hmm.
that's kind of like a glass half full or a glass half empty, how you look
Yeah.
at it.
So let's do a little focus on how to say no. So we're always challenged with, I'm sorry, or, here, but I can't because, and you give an
But
excuse and all of that. Do we, do we need to do all of that stuff?
no, that's the those are what I would say are the baby steps of kind of coming outside the comfort zone of telling someone something that you feel might be uncomfortable. It's that vulnerability. So you always kind of throw in those words ahead to kind of like soften the blow, but it really doesn't soften the blow. That's just more of like, a band-aid or something that you stick on. So you don't have to say I'm sorry because it's how you feel, like you just have to be honest. But it's difficult, I mean, I had to do it not that long ago. I ended up ending a relationship with someone because I just was trying to be honest that I just wasn't ready to be in a relationship. But it wasn't easy. I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I didn't want for him to be upset or anything like that, but it wasn't feeling right to me and I didn't feel like I should be in something if my heart wasn't in it like his was. But, it
Hmm.
it wasn't taken the best even though I was trying to deliver it. But, it was just me trying to just be honest
You're
and
being honest.
open. Yeah.
And then it's really on the, ultimately then at that point, it's on the other person. Because I know that when you said that and explained it, it was being heartfelt. Like
Yeah.
it's all good, but I'm not feeling it the way you are. Is
Yeah.
this the relationship you were in, or is this another relationship
No, that was the one I was in at the beginning. It hasn't
prior?
been that long. Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
it just, we just weren't in the same steps. He was way further ahead than I was. And I just felt like I got out of my previous relationship not that long before. And it just was, I wasn't 100% healed from that. And there's, those residual feelings and emotions and it just didn't feel right and I didn't want to bring that into the new relationship and that's not fair to him. He should have someone that's 100% in like he is.
Yep. Yep.
So and
Mm.
it was horrible, because like I really care about him and everything and the last thing I want to do is hurt him, but so that's my most recent example of the uncomfortable. But
But you were honest and you were authentic, and I think that's fine. And for those other times when people ask you to do something, help them out with something,
yeah,
I find it's hard to say no unless you say something else. So, I'm trying to think of, hey, can you help me move on Saturday? No, it
yeah,
hurts. It feels like nasty. I
yeah,
almost want to say, no, I'm not available. Now, and being truthful, maybe I don't have other plans, but I'm not available. I don't have to say this, but because I want to give myself time. You know what I'm saying?
and that's healthy, that's really healthy. But yeah, that happens to me sometimes, like as well. People will ask me, and all of a sudden I'm just like, either I am busy doing something else or I'm just tired from the day. I just kind of want to collect and, just kind of relax
Sure.
and recharge. I don't want to burn myself out to the ground where I can't, get up and do what I have to do the next day.
Final thought here. You don't realize how you burn yourself out
Yeah.
because you become a creature of habit. And if you're always doing the same thing, I was doing that like all through the summer. Like, yes, I'll be there. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Make plans for this. But I mean, now that the summer wound down, we're into the fall. Now I'm kicking back and doing less. I look forward to my bed. Like I look forward to sitting there. I don't even watch TV. I'm just hanging out, maybe read a little bit, listen to some music, but it's like me time,
Yeah.
recharge, chill. It just refocuses you or meditate, whatever it might
Yeah.
be.
Anything that, is true to yourself and your
Yeah,
heart and that makes you feel good, everyone needs a little boost in the day.
for sure.
You know?
So boost us up. This is what you do. Again, you're the mirror. You hold the mirror up. I see what you're doing here. Um, How do we connect with you? What's your website, Donna?
My website's www.donnadaytlc.com. My email's the same, so it's donnadaytlc@gmail.com. And then my phone number is 201-719-6991.
Very cool. Glad we talked about this today. It's so important, and it's one of those things that we don't put the importance on because we're so used to saying yes and doing things that we really don't want to do. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. We'll catch up next time, okay?
Excellent. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.